Hey, hey, hey. One, two, yeah. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah.
That's interesting. It's coming from a bad line. Who the fuck's on my channel? Who the fuck is on my channel?
1, 2. Hey, hey, yeah, yeah. 2, 2.
Really weird hearing my voice. So,
Hey, hey. Yeah, yeah. 2, 2. 1, 2. Hey, hey. 1, 2. 1, 2. Yeah, yeah, yeah. 2, 2. All right. Hey, 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 hey.
Test, 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 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, test, test. Well, they're going to be back here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
She's probably really close to that. So, out there, yeah.
1, 2, 3. Test, 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 1, 2, 3.
Very much, yeah, a lot of recorded Might be two. So what's the best way to do it? Just like that? All right. Good enough quality? Yeah? Okay. Just we'll angle it. The first one will only be one, I think. Okay. I'm just trying to confirm it. Six things will be two.
Hey.
Animals now. Thank you. You can all please silence your phones. Okay, ladies and gents, TV, happy? Thank you. Okay. Who'd like to ask the first question, please, for Andy? Okay, thank you very much, everyone.
Andy, Daulat bowled a good spell up front and got Aaron Finch, but do you think somewhere in the middle overs you missed someone like a Mirwais Ashraf or a specialist spinner to stem the flow of runs?
Obviously, Ashraf Mirwais is a key member of our squad. He comes in at bowls tight in the end, and having him been injured in the way and has gone home is a huge loss to us. But you're quite right, Daulat did bowl well up front, but unfortunately the bowlers around him, we didn't bowl well enough for long enough. I thought we bowled very well at Warner for the first 5-6 overs. He had a bit of luck, but all batters deserve a bit of luck. But we didn't persist with bowling in the same areas, and unfortunately we got short, and we spoke about not to bowl short. And then the rest is history. Once he got away, we just couldn't get the momentum back again. So, yeah, we do miss Mirwais in the side, but you know the guys are good enough and have showed in the previous games that we can bowl better areas for longer than what we did do today. So that in itself is a disappointment.
And you said the plan was not to bowl too short to Warner, but you but your fast bowlers clearly overdid the short ball to him. Why do you think that happened? Did they get carried away by the bounce?
Yeah, I think they're not the first group of bowlers that have come here. You know, there's many teams come to Perth and unfortunately fall into the trap of bowling shorter and shorter as they see the ball carrying through to the keeper at head height. And we did discuss it. We've been here in October and November, and the guys had the opportunity to bowl on this wicket. And it's just disappointing and sad that we went away from the lengths that we started off on. And we started well. We bowled good areas, went past the edge of the bat. We brought our fielders in front of the wicket into the game, and if it went past the edge, obviously the slips and keeper are in the game. But unfortunately, when you bowl shorter, you take out your fielders in front of the wicket because it's going, square of the wicket. And we spoke before the game about the need, if we leak runs, they have to be down the ground and not square of the wicket. But as I said, yes, it is a disappointment, but they're not the first group of bowlers to fall into that trap. And we've got to learn from that. And we're going to Napier, that's got a little bit of pace and bounce in it as well. The only thing there, the boundaries are even shorter on the side of there. So we've got to make sure we are disciplined in the areas we bowl. And they don't do it on purpose, obviously, but it is disappointing. We've worked hard in the nets not to do it. And that's, the bowlers as a bowling group are disappointed they didn't execute the skills that they did do against Sri Lanka and Scotland.
Glenn Maxwell's reverse sweeps and those inventive shots, did they surprise the bowlers, and how much of a learning experience was it for the bowlers taking it forward?
Well, there's not too many people play. I know there's one or two, but from a learning point of view, hopefully we don't see it too often in the future because it was some quite special batting. And he's come into some criticism, I noticed, in the past of playing it too early. I think he waited one ball today. But he's obviously a very special player, and as all coaches and captains want, the innings was set up for him by not losing early wickets, and he could come in and express himself. I thought he played quite beautifully, and put a lot of pressure on the bowlers. And from a learning point of view, yes, we've got to learn to be calmer and execute areas. But when people are playing those type of shots, which they've probably never come across before, and actually they may have watched it on a TV or a video. We've watched videos and spoke about the fact that Maxwell does play those shots, but when it actually happens, you've got to react to what happens, and we'll talk about that, and hopefully, should it come across the chance to bowl to Maxwell again, they'll do better.
Coach, it does boil down to a lack of experience, doesn't it? How is it possible to bridge that gap, this absence of experience?
Yeah, I think we all, as the associates, are going to say we need to play more cricket, we need to play again. But the horrible truth is that is the truth. We need to play. How can you get used to playing against people bowling 150 plus, especially on a surface that what a great surface, but it's got more pace and bounce than probably any other cricket wicket in the world, probably. To play against that and get used to it, you have to play against it. We use golf balls on the nets to get extra bounce. We use synthetic balls that bounce more. We use bowling machines. We've done a lot of preparation for this game. But, the players need to, as you quite rightly say, we need to play against people that bowl at that speed, with that aggression, with that excellence more often, so that we can get better at playing at it.
Just with England and New Zealand coming up. Just with New Zealand and England coming up, how do you go about trying to turn around the confidence of the lads? And is there a fear that they might go into their shells a bit after tonight?
No, I'll be doing all my best to make sure they don't go in their shells. I keep telling them they must express themselves and play with the freedom that Afghanistan cricket has been known for. But obviously we have to temper that around getting over your first 10 or 12 balls. And some of the guys didn't get into that mode tonight. New Zealand and especially New Zealand, have got off to a great start, obviously winning all the games. They're playing at home. They're full of confidence. But as I've just said today, we ran into a freight train today. We were outskilled, obviously, outbullied, if you want to put it that way. They were exceptional. And we came up short. And we hold our hands up. We've got to get better. No excuses. We'll be working very hard between now and New Zealand. They've got an exceptional bowling attack as well in Southey and Bolt, and backed up by the other guys. And we have to make sure that we are ready for what we know is going to be a very tough examination. And I just said to the guys, you know, playing quick bowling is about character. And we need to show more character when we're up against it.
Why did you decide to bowl first? Because that surprised a lot of people. So what went behind that?
Well, if I was to tell you that if Afghanistan were going to beat Australia today, if we'd have batted first and got 260, in all probability that wouldn't have been enough, as you saw. The only way we can beat Australia is to bowl first, bowl well, which we did to start with, but do it for longer and try and restrict them to somewhere near 300. And then hopefully our stroke makers can have a good day and we can chase it down. I think, you know, we thought that for us to win the game, we might win a small percentage chasing a score that 300-ish. But to do that, we had to bowl obviously a lot better than we did today. If we'd have batted first and scored 240, 250, which as you've seen us batting today would have been a tough ask, with the bowling attack we have at the moment without Moise around, I think we'd have found it very difficult to restrict Australia, to bowl them out, to stop them getting 260. And I think you saw today that argument holds a bit of water.
Thank you very much, Andy.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks very much. I understand it'll be David Warner and Michael Clark together. Okay. They're on the way, yes.
Cameras, is that going to be right for you? We've got two guys sitting side by side like that. They're going to have one each.
Okay, everyone, we're going to get started now. Thank you. Okay, our TV ready down the back? Excuse you, whoever that was. That's a good start. Thanks for whoever did that. TV ready down the back?
That's right on there.
Okay, could whoever is asking questions, please address it to the specific player, please. Who would like to go first?
Question to David. How do you describe this innings, especially when a double century was there? Disappointed that you couldn't reach there, or you're happy with what you played?
No, I'm not disappointed at all. I went out there to try and score some runs, and I managed to do that once the concrete shoes came off. And it's good to get a great total on the board, and obviously the bowlers doing their job at the end there.
David, the Afghan bowlers seemed to begin quite well in the initial overs. but then either you attacked them very strongly or they lost their line and length. How would you rate their bowling today?
I thought that the way they came back, not sure what the guy's name is, but he got up to about 140, 145 clicks and was bowling Yorkers, and it surprised Smithy a little bit. But yeah, I thought he bowled pretty well there towards the end in that power play. And look, he executed a couple of Yorkers, and a couple of Yorkers weren't executed. So look, we just on our day we're pretty good today. I can't say his name. I don't know it. It's too hard to pronounce.
Michael, what do you take out of this win, playing as an associate member? What are the positives you're going to take out of this game?
I think, well, it's nice to turn our form around after New Zealand, especially with the bat. I thought the boys played really well to make 400, our highest World Cup score ever. That's very satisfying and really pleasing after the way we batted against New Zealand. I think there's obviously some outstanding individual performances. Davey Warner, obviously, he led the way with that, and Steve Smith played around Davey, Glenn Maxwell. I thought they all played really well to get that record, and then we once again we come out and bowled and fielded really well. So I think that side of our games seems pretty consistent. We have to continue to bowl and field the way we are, and like I say, it's a real positive to be able to turn things around with the bat so quickly.
Michael, was it a tough decision for yourself to not bat today, like given you looking for a bit of time in the middle?
Well, there's no doubt I wanted to bat, but I thought it was in the best interest of the team. I kept my pads on. I was in next until about 11 overs to go, or 12 overs to go. And I thought there was an opportunity for us to really have a crack at that world record for us, for the Australian team in World Cups. So, yeah, the decision was based on what was best for the team.
And the decision this morning for Shane Watson to miss out, how did... Yeah, it's obviously a big decision for a guy who's been in the side for as long as Shane has. How did he sort of handle that, and how did the team sort of handle that news?
I thought Watto handled it really well. It's obviously a tough decision for the selectors, but I thought the way he contributed still today, he had a really good hit in the nets today, so he's been fantastic around the group all day.
And on that subject, are you confident that batting lineup that you took out there today is strong enough to go through the World Cup?
I've said before, 15 of us to have success in this World Cup. I think the selectors have made pretty clear that that's the 11 they've picked for these conditions against this opposition, and they'll, I'm sure they'll do the same for Sri Lanka at the SCG. Whatever 11 the selectors give me, my job's to get the best out of them, and I'm confident with every player in this squad, if they get an opportunity, they'll grab it with both hands and they'll help the team have success.
Michael, this is the third time that 400 has been breached in this tournament. We've seen a number of big scores already. Why do you think this is in the last 1 year that we've seen such huge one-day totals? Does it sort of mess with your understanding of one-day cricket?
I think the fact you only have 4 fielders out instead of 5 fielders makes a massive difference. And I think the fact you got 2 brand new balls means you're hitting a much harder cricket ball the whole way through your innings. So they're probably the main 2 reasons. I think 2020 cricket in general has helped a lot of players in regards to power, as in hitting 4s and 6s, but also hitting balls to different areas. I think Glenn Maxwell was a great example of that today. You've seen obviously Davey, Chris Gale, AB de Villiers. They hit 360 degrees, and with only 4 fielders out with a hard white cricket ball, it's pretty hard to stop those sort of guys on their day.
Michael, do you feel like you know your best pace attack at the moment? Because it seems like there's a lot of competition, a lot of bowlers, a lot of the quicks all doing really well.
I think all the quicks we've got in the squad are fantastic. Like I say, it's going to depend on what 11 the selectors give me. They make that decision, then my job's to try and work out what the best combinations are against the team we're playing in the conditions we're playing to have success. An example of that is, Hazelwood and Stark opening the bowling today, and Johnson bowling first change against New Zealand. Johnson opened the bowling with Stark. So it'll depend on what 11 players and what attack I'm given, I guess, for me to try and communicate as well as I can with those guys, with the bowlers. I guess the luxury I have is they're all open to doing whatever's best for the team, and I love that about this side. I feel we've got that with both bat and ball, that guys are willing to go up and bat it, 4, 5, 6, wherever it is. Bowl first change, not bowl at all. I think that's a real important luxury to have, and I'm very lucky I got that with this team.
Michael.
Flexibility, yeah, definitely.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Michael, there's a lot of talk about the associates playing in the World Cup and possibility of next time cutting it down. What are your thoughts on the associate teams that are this World Cup and the level of competitiveness that they've so far exhibited?
I got asked that question the other day. Look, I guess I can only give you my personal view. How the next World Cup's run is completely up to the ICC, and I'm sure they'll make the right decisions for that. My personal view is I love seeing as many people, as many countries playing in major tournaments as possible. I think it's great for the sport. I think this is a wonderful opportunity today for us to play against Afghanistan for both teams. I'm all about trying to grow the game as much as we possibly can. I think that's a big part of our role as professional athletes, to try and grow the sport. So once you leave the game, you can sit back and look at how much the game's improved while you're being involved in it. As many boys and girls playing cricket as possible in any country in the world is what I would love to see. So the more opportunity these countries get in major tournaments, I think it can only be a positive for the game of cricket.
Dave, there was an unfortunate event where you hit that 6 and hit the little boy in the shoulder. What went through your mind, and a message for him at all?
Yeah, I didn't realise until I saw it on the big screen. I gave him a pair of gloves and I signed him, and I just had a little quick chat there with him and his father, and he's a bit better now. He's got a little bit of a bandage on him, but I said I hope he gets well. So didn't have much to say though.
Michael, how do you look forward to Sri Lanka? You've had quite a rivalry, and both teams are coming into form. So how do you look forward to that game?
Yeah, I think they're going to be a really tough team to beat. They like playing at the Sydney Cricket Ground, and they're playing some really good cricket. So they've got experience, and I think that's always an important part of a good team in major tournaments. I think if you've got some players that have been involved in World Cups before, I think that gives you a good advantage, and I think Sri Lanka have certainly got a few of those players, and they're in really good form, like you said. So I think we're all excited about it. There's already some talk in the change room now about taking this momentum to Sydney and making sure we continue to play as well as we possibly can. We know we're going to have to be at our best to beat them. But I think this team, again, we always look forward to that challenge. New Zealand was exactly the same. We were up for that game and we were excited. We trained really well in the lead-in. Unfortunately, we got beaten on the day. Sri Lanka will be the same. The boys will be really excited about getting to Sydney. We love playing at the SCG. And yeah, it's going to be a tough game. I think it's obviously an important game for both teams. It's going to be a great challenge.
Cheddars and then the gentleman in front.
Michael, just on Mitch Marsh, the final ball of his second over, he kind of pulled up short a bit there, and he only bowled one more over after that. What was he battling, and is he going to be okay for Sri Lanka?
I think he'll be fine, yeah. I think it was something to do with his boot. I asked him if he was all right, and he said, I'm completely fine. So it was more about, he was coming on, Mitchell Johnson was going to bowl one more over, and then he was going to have another bowl this evening. Just didn't pan out that way, but he's... Don't drop it. Oh, second slip.
Michael, I'm not asking about fielding, I'm going to ask you about batting. When David Warner got out, there were about 75 balls left. The way the hundreds are being made lately, 38 ball century, 32 ball centuries, you think a 300 in one day possible, or it is a far-fetched thought?
Say that just the last bit again. Is 300 possible, or?
Yeah, because there was
for Davey on his own?
No, any batsman. He was out at 178 with 75 balls left, and the way
Yeah.
the runs are being scored at the death overs, you think 300 is a possibility or it's a far-fetched thought?
I can guarantee you I cannot make 300 in a one-day international, but someone like Davey or Chris Gale or AB de Villiers, on a smaller ground, I think they possibly could. You probably have to open the batting, so you've got the full 50 overs. But in this game at the moment, who knows? We're seeing so many different shots, different deliveries, so much power. I think there's a handful of players around the world that probably could do it. Hopefully it's one of the Australians, not somebody against Australia, that goes out and makes 300. But I certainly couldn't make 300 in a one-day international, that's for sure.
Last three, there, and Ben.
Michael, just going back to Shane this morning, was it a case of experimenting with the side for today, or is it going to be difficult for him to get back into the side given the matches coming up?
That's a question for the selectors. I can't answer that, I'm sorry. I don't know the answer to that.
So you just... It's okay.
Yeah. Michael, as a professional, perhaps a perfect game for you would be extremely one-sided. But as a cricketer, do you enjoy a closer game, a more evenly contested game, or this kind of a perfect game?
I enjoy winning. I don't care if that's by 1 run or that's by 400 runs. Don't get me wrong, I think there's been a number of games in my career in both Test and one-day cricket where we haven't got the result we would like, but it sticks in my mind. 2005 Ashes, for example, was one of the most amazing Test series I've ever been a part of, and we didn't win that. The one-dayer in New Zealand the other day was an amazing game to play. I wish we had won, but we got beaten there as well. So I think, yeah, as an Australian cricketer, your goal is to do whatever it takes to try and help your team win. But I think part of the game is also accepting that you're not going to win every single time. There's going to be some days that you lose, and I think it's about respecting those days, the opposition. And I think the other day against New Zealand was a really good example of that. It was entertaining, exciting cricket from both teams, really attacking cricket from both teams. Yes, we would have loved to have won, but I think for the crowd and for the people that watch at home, I think, they love seeing those sort of games as well. Don't get me wrong, I did enjoy today. I think you've seen some of the most amazing batting from a few of the Australian players. You've seen some really good fast bowling. And I think it was a great opportunity for both Australia to play against Afghanistan and the other way as well, Afghanistan to have the chance to face Mitchell Starc and Mitchell Johnson and bowl to David Warner. That doesn't happen all the time for them, and I'm sure they'll have plenty of memories of today.
Last one, Ben.
Dave, we're sort of coming into the bigger games now of the tournament. Do you feel like you can use today's innings as a bit of a platform, to really kick on now with the tournament?
Yeah, hopefully not the first 5 overs. But, it's another game. Obviously, you've got to get yourself back in again. Back at the SCG, I like playing there. So, look, I think for all of us, we've got to take as much out of this game as possible. It's always good to get out in the middle. I thought the practice wickets were quite challenging the other day. So, it's good to get out in the middle there and score some runs and back at home and playing against Sri Lanka.
Thanks very much. Thanks.